Hi, I'm Senator John Marty, and very pleased to be with you, at least remotely, for this Day of Reason. It's something that we, as Americans, have to speak up for. Something I thought we wouldn't have to these days. I thought that we had learned these lessons, that we understood the difference between people's private beliefs, matters of conscience, and the public law, and the things that everybody in our society have to follow. This is very disturbing to see. There was a recent Pew Research Center poll that said half of all Americans, only half, 50%, believe that Bible and other religion scriptures should have no impact on our laws. Fully half of the public, half of a quarter of that being strongly believe that biblical scriptures and religious documents should have a heavy influence on our laws, affecting 100% of the public. And that's disturbing. It goes very much against what the nation's founders, what Thomas Jefferson and others said. So we have to fight against that. And the fact that we have that kind of views in there has warped our whole description of how we address issues. Climate change, probably the most serious threat to our planet, to human civilization altogether. In this crisis of coronavirus time, it may be hard to see other things as bigger threats. But clearly, climate crisis is more serious than that. And yet we're doing so little as a nation about that. And I think it's largely because some people coming from some religious mindset decided that their religion determines what science is about. They determine what climate's going to be. They determine what other things are going to be. So we don't have to worry about what happens to the world around us. Well, politicians, as Wendell Berry once said, politicians and the public sometimes think we control so much, but Mother Nature has the last hand. Mother Nature is the one who has the final vote, and Mother Nature does not compromise with our stupidity. So I think we need to speak out. We need to fight for science-based public policy. We have to fight for addressing this climate threat. We have to fight for a world that cares for all of us, not one that somebody's personal religious beliefs are going to impose on other people. That's why I really am pleased to be with you for the Day of Reason. Really pleased at what you're doing and speaking out on this. And thank you, and look forward to continuing to work with you.
Hi, I'm Representative Todd Lippert. I represent the Northfield, Lonsdale, Montgomery, and Dundas areas in southeast Minnesota. I'm also an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ, and I come to politics through my faith. But I'm in a tradition that sees no conflict between science and religion, no conflict between reason and faith. In fact, we see that if we're going to be practicing the Great Commandment and following that Great Commandment in Christianity to love God and love neighbor, we'd better be learning all we can about the world we inhabit and learning all we can about who we are as human beings and taking that information in so that we can treat one another in loving and caring ways. This is especially true with COVID-19 right now. We have to be listening to scientists and public health experts as we learn more about this disease and learn how we can slow the spread of this virus, care for one another, and especially care for those who are most vulnerable right now. I'm also in a tradition that traces its lineage back to the Pilgrims who sailed across the Atlantic searching for religious freedom, trying to get away from the sort of religious persecution that was happening in post-Reformation Europe, where it didn't matter the faith you practiced. Depending on the monarch who was coming into power, you could be persecuted for your faith. And so the founders, as they were establishing a state that was neutral towards religion, wanted to create space where Christians could practice, but others could practice their faith too. So Christians, whether Catholic or Protestant, could express their faith, Jews could express their faith, and Muslims too, or those who were following their freedom of conscience and choosing to practice no faith at all, that they could live freely as well. So for politicians who are people of faith, I think it's important that we are asked, how do you feel about someone who practices a faith that's different than yours? Will you honor them? How do you feel about someone who chooses to practice no faith at all? Will you honor them and make space for them? If so, then they are consistent with the spirit of the founders who wanted to create space for multiple faith expressions or no faith expression at all. And that's something that's at the heart of who we are as a country.
Hi, I'm Mike Freiburg. I'm the state representative for Crystal, Golden Valley, New Hope, and Robbinsdale. Thank you so much for your commitment to the separation of church and state, and to make sure policy decisions are grounded in science. We're living in the midst of the worst pandemic in 102 years, and it's never been more important to base policy decisions on science. Anti-science policymakers harm the public by denying the fact of climate change, by touting disproven links between vaccines and autism, and by supporting harmful practices like conversion therapy. Just yesterday, the President of the United States basically suggested that tanning beds and injecting Lysol can cure COVID-19. It's time for us to recommit ourselves to science-based policy and to support candidates that support science. Your group can help play a key role. Please contact your legislators and tell them to base their decisions in science. Please work to elect candidates that support science. So with that, I just thank you all for being here, and I want to wish you a happy day of reason.
Well, hello, everybody. This is State Representative Raymond Dean coming to you through recorded video here, and I hope that all of you are doing the best you can to get through what has truly been some real difficult times over the past few weeks, and certainly appear that this may go on a little while, that we'll be dealing with this current crisis. I'm excited to be chatting with you because I'm one of those people that really believe that science matters. I really believe that how people go about their daily lives and make their decision is what's critical. I believe that humanity and people have good in them and will do that without having to have necessarily a doctrine or something that drives them to make some of the decisions that they make. It might be a little bit easier, but that's okay. I think for those of us who believe in data, believe in science, and believe that the world is made of wonderful people doing wonderful things, that we can actually accomplish a lot. And of course, we're finding out more and more people are becoming public with their beliefs or their non-religious beliefs. I think one of the great things about the humanist and about some of the other folks is it gives us a place to come together, which is the role that many religions play, to really talk about those issues that we believe are important to us and those things we value in the world. So I just really appreciate all of you continue to do the work that you are doing and connecting with people so that our voices actually have a voice that can be heard. It's been amazing to watch some of these press conferences by the president these last few weeks and see the scientists get up after he's spoken and really clarify what he said in a way that sort of makes some sense. So again, thank all of you for the work you do and the engagement. And I hope that you all are hanging in there. We're all going to get through this and we'll come out better on the other side. So thanks again.